had some friends that owned a solar company that contacted me and asked if I could help them set up a CRM. And I just said, well, let's just build one, because I know how to do that. And here I am today in the, just totally immersed in the door-to-door world. It's totally a unique space, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And it's presented some major challenges.
What's up, guys? This is Sam Taggart with the D2D podcast, and I'm excited to bring this guest on. But before I do that, a couple announcements. We've got our business boot camp coming up February 28th and 1st, so you might not even hear this by then. And we have another one in Denver. We're actually moving these around to Denver, Dallas, LA, Orlando. So the next one's in the middle of April. This is for business leaders, understanding technology. And we're going to be diving into that in this podcast where, what's tools and CRMs and what pay scales and what recruiting systems and what training and onboarding systems should, what's the streamlined fast track way to success so that you're not beating your head, saving and killing yourself in dummy tax as an entrepreneur. And then we have our sales summit coming up for any salespeople who want to learn NLP and pitching and closing and all the different word tracks that's going to help you have more success on the doors as far as just selling and being a better closer. That's March 17th through the 20th in South Carolina. So check out our up and coming events. We've got some cool stuff on the docket. And now bringing on our guest, we have Ben Schwen, who is a close friend of mine. And we've known each other for a couple of years now. And he is not your door-to-door guy. And he is not your guy that's going to come in here and, just come in and talk sales talks and word tracks. And so if you're like, man, I'm listening to a podcast to, better my sales closing percentage, is probably isn't the podcast for you. But this podcast is going to be better suited for those that are selling or business owners that want to see things from an engineer's head in the sense of what tools and why software really is what runs efficiency and runs more production and runs more sales and gets things moving faster and creates better time management and things like that, so that you're not losing deals, you're not letting deals sit too long, you're providing better customer experiences and a rep experience that is world-class. And I've been to a lot of companies that don't leverage tech in the right way. And I watch companies still on spreadsheets, still kind of clunky. I'm a huge advocate of tech. I've built 2 technologies myself. I've partnered with a few techs. I'm building a 3rd one right now. And I'm a huge advocate of having streamlined systems through technology to increase production. So that's what I want to really focus this podcast on. So I want to bring Mr. Ben on, and appreciate you being on the show, my man.
Hey, yeah, I'm happy to be here. So, yeah.
So tell me how you started. Did you always want to be a coder, an engineer?
Yeah. I actually started in sales, believe it or not, but it was phone sales. And I was one of those, phone sales guys selling people online businesses, back for, I think it was like Ryve was the fulfillment or something like that. And what happened was I ended up, talking with people and helping coach those people more than selling them. And I just wanted to help people with technology. And so, fast forward, I got into tech, got into coding, and all self-taught, and had some friends that owned a solar company that contacted me and asked if I could help them set up a CRM. And I just said, well, let's just build one, because I know how to do that. And here I am today in the, just totally immersed in the door-to-door world. It's totally a unique space, and I'm happy to be a part of it. and it's presented some major challenges. So yeah, like what you were saying before, something I've learned over the years is every company these days basically has to be some kind of software company. So whether if they're building their own software or just utilizing someone else's, software is going to be running your whole business, even if it's a spreadsheet. It's running your business. And I think a big challenge in the door-to-door space is a lot of people who are starting a new door-to-door sales business, or even a fulfillment business or something like that. They're thinking a lot more about sales. They typically come from a sales background, and so it's been an interesting challenge to help bridge that gap for people, and especially the communication perspective, and these people who don't understand software really. They know how to use some of it, but so yeah, it's been quite an interesting go at it.
So those that don't know Ben, he is one of the founders of Ryve, which is a digital sales knocking app, CRM, proposal tool, all of the things, start to finish, fulfillment. Where's my jobs from a installer need for solar, and was what it started at. And now they help window companies, roofing companies, etc. And it's been really cool because you took a guy that, I didn't even know you did phone sales, but you took a sales organization, a solar company, that said, hey, there is not a really good solution because everybody sucks at, I got to integrate my knocking app to my CRM, then my marketing tool, my customer updating tool, all of those things into all these different platforms. And what ends up happening is because they're, one login didn't work, and so it D took out the API, and then you stopped, running the zaps, and then you know what I mean? And all of a sudden your whole system broke. Instead of it one ecosystem, one symbiotic software that could encompass it all from start, like lead, I got your name, all the way till built on your roof, PTO'd, knowing what's engineered. And that's what Ryve is done. And very, very, very few, I haven't really seen anything else out there like that. So, if you're in solar, or you're in roofing, or you're wanting kind of a start to finish CRM, go check out Ryve. What's the website? Where can they find you?
Yeah, it's ryvecrm.com.
Simple.
So,
RYVE.
RYVECRM.com. And we came up with that name with just by thinking of, you're arriving at a place and you're thriving. So
arriving and thriving. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And so as you approach this, as you start building CRM or knocking app or all of these, call it sales solutions, what are the things that you looked for when getting feedback from salespeople? What are some of the frustrations that salespeople communicate to you that you say, hey, I'm taking this feedback from salespeople and I'm now building solutions into software?
Yeah, that's been quite a challenge. You couldn't get more opposite personality types. Engineers are typically reclusive and not very outgoing. I'm pretty outgoing. That's
a cool guy. We've had some good times.
Yeah, I'm a cool guy. Okay, so, but yeah, you couldn't get more opposite type personalities in general, and so it's been quite a challenge, just kind of understanding what people mean when they say things, and what I mean by that is, typically if you build someone something, typically you're looking for, if there's a problem with it, you're looking for an exact explanation of the problem, right? But the feedback I typically get if there's some sort of issue is it's broken, it's buggy, it's glitchy. It's quite challenging to figure out what exactly is the problem to fix here. So that's one thing. Now, I don't get that feedback very often anymore. In the beginning, when we first started building this, and taking this to the market, you know, we hit the same challenges that I would think that, you know, other knocking apps and other CRMs have hit. You know, like as far as, you know, when you're out there canvassing on your mobile app, you know, so there's, you know, all sorts of horror stories of every single canvassing app out there about losing pins and when they're in a bad service area that things just are buggy or glitchy, right? Things like that. And so we really, you know, we set out to solve every problem from canvassing all the way through project management and then customer success and everything. So what happened was, in the beginning, is we really ran into a lot of those same problems that I've heard from about other software in the industry. And so we focused really hard on our first year about making sure that the front end interface is totally bug free, totally simple, and we do more work so that it can be more simple, right? And that's what people don't really understand with software, is the more simple and easy something is to use, the more work was put into that from the engineering side. And so, you know, that's something that people should consider when thinking about software in this space. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm a sales guy. Why is software a vital piece to my success? From an engineer's perspective, I'm curious.
Well, there's a few reasons. One, data. Being able to keep track of data is quintessential to sales, I think. You know, I mean, I've had to do sales for Ryve myself. I mean, I get to. It's not like I had to. I enjoy it. I enjoy interfacing with customers and everything. But I have so much other stuff going on, as much as most other sales guys do, especially in door to door. They're having to remember every single door they knock, every aspect of every customer they're interfacing with. And so the biggest thing about that is just being able to access your data and be able to see your data in an easy, quick view. On top of that, not having to do a lot of data entry. So if you have like just a canvassing app for your sales team, and then your project management team is using something else, your proposal team is using something else, and then your customers especially have no idea what's going on, unless they, you know, get a phone call from one of your super busy project managers. You know, software is here to alleviate your problems. It's not here to create more problems. And when you can utilize software correctly, you can completely optimize every aspect of your job. And it doesn't really matter what job it is, if it's sales or anything else. You know, having some kind of software that will help you be more pragmatic is the best way to be successful. So
love that. What if I'm like I'm old school, I just am pen and paper kind of guy, I remember where I'm at, you know, like I see it a lot where guys are just, I'm always on the go, I don't have the time to make sure I input the data, you know, and it's that they're the salespeople are the first point of data. And I think this is so important for people to understand. Like, you know, unless I'm a marketing company like Facebook ad, I'm doing a lead capture form, that would be the first point of data. But for most door-to-door sales companies, you are step one. And the more data and inputs, when, who, notes, follow-up dispositions, things like that you can have on customers. As a business owner, one, you know how to remarket, how to follow up, how to upsell, how to really optimize. You know, it's funny how much Google and Amazon pays for data because they are the best at marketing to that data. What ends up happening with door-to-door sales companies is they aren't the best at marketing to that data because they come from more of an old school archaic form of selling. And am I against door-to-door? No, I'm actually saying you're getting better data than a random click and watch a web video than you are, you know, that data, in my opinion, is worth way more utilized correctly from having face-to-face conversation with you, even though it didn't transact, than a random, you know, clicked on a banner ad for 5 seconds and left. You know what I mean? Like, so I think people are underestimating the value that could be, or maybe currently is, sitting in their CRM, sitting in their knocking apps from a lead, you know, capture standpoint. I guess, what would you say to that?
Interfacing with someone in person is the best way to capture any sort of analytics with, you know, about them. So, and we've seen that in Ryve. We have, you know, customers who will hit us up after they've been on the platform for about a year and ask us if they are able to see anything that's been given a proposal, or, you know, some kind of field like that. And so we've actually supplied some functionality towards that, to where you can, you know, filter by dispositions and statuses, and then export, you know, do a mass export of that data. And then we've seen companies literally take that data and sell it to maybe a third party who does, you know, inside phone sales. And you know, there's so much you can do with data. Data runs the entire world right now. You know, all of the biggest software companies, I mean, all of the biggest companies in the world, you know, the majority of their income comes from data, and the majority of their spend is on data as well. So, you know, that's definitely something to consider. The CRM itself is a great way to capture that data and be able to export it and do whatever you want with it. So
let's talk about the importance of project management and watching how some of these companies struggle. You know, like you're a solar company, or you know, you work with a lot of solar companies. So you see some solar companies boasting 7-day installs or 15-day installs, and some companies realistically it's 4 to 6 months, right? And I'm not saying the solar company you really built this for is the fastest or whatever. I mean, there's other logistical elements of this, but I'm just asking, have you noticed decrease of cancels, increase of speed, like how technology is helping the project management side and really silos and who's doing what and moving that along? Like, where have you seen that optimization?
Yeah, so if I could just go into a little bit of what Ryve offers. On our canvassing app, we have property data that we have on every property in the United States. And so you're able to get the name of the person, their address, you know, so various things about the home that just get saved as soon as you have any sort of interaction with that person. And that is saved on the history of that record forever. So let's say you sell this person, you add all sorts of notes, you update a bunch of fields, you get it through the sales process, it's into project management's hands. Project management can then see the full history of everything on that customer. So they can see like, oh, okay, you know, any relevant data that we had on the property already, such as maybe, you know, when the house was purchased or something like that. And then they're able to also see, you know, the sales rep's journey through that, as far as updating it, you know, changing dispositions, leaving new notes, you know, adding information from the proposal, anything like that. And then they're also able to communicate with the sales rep on these accounts. And so let's say, a sales rep signs a customer, right off the bat, project management needs to know about that and needs to get the process started immediately. And really reach out to the customer. So kind of a side tangent here. One of the biggest concerns I have regarding most of the verticals we've worked with in the door-to-door industry is cancellations. As you know, there is kind of a stigma around door-to-door sometimes, and so customers might, already feel a little uneasy, and the a lot of these verticals like solar and roofing and windows, it's a big expense for their house, and so these customers are signing these documents, getting some kind of $40,000 to $100,000 loan, and then they typically, a lot of the time, don't really hear from people much after that, and so they're reaching out to the sales rep. They're trying to figure out a way to figure out where they are, because they just spent all this money and made this huge decision. And so the great thing about Ryve and interfacing both the project management side and the sales side is that if they do call in to the sales rep can look up their account, be able to tag project management and say, hey, here's the customer, they need a call right here, and just go ahead. It saves everything to the account right there. Project manager gets a notification. They're like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't realize this was in my pipeline yet. I haven't gotten to it yet, but it looks like we need to get started on this customer. So on top of Ryve, me and my buddy founded a company called Portal CX, and I know you're going to be having him on your podcast here soon. And what we did with Portal CX is we set out to solve that problem of the customers getting updates and getting that, feeling good about their purchase, feeling good about working with the company that they're working with, and getting an easy experience, from that. And so we hooked up Portal CX to Ryve, and we actually looked at data over 90 days. So after we hooked up Portal CX to Ryve, we got about 90 days worth of data, and we were able to look at these same companies 90 days before that, and we saw a cancellation rate, because we can see that in Ryve, we can see the data in Ryve and see when accounts get canceled, and we found about 20 to 30% cancellation rate pretty much across the board in the previous 90 days. And then after we hooked up Portal CX, which is the automatic updates, the customer portal, that's basically your Domino's tracker for your project. We looked at the next 90 days, and those same companies that were having 20 to 30% cancellations went down to 8% and 14% over the next 90 days.
That's like millions of dollars for a lot of companies.
Millions of dollars, yeah. Just speaking to how software can solve problems, all the sales rep had to do was click a button, add in a few data fields, and then maybe tag on that account and then run the installation agreement all as automated as possible, and then automation kind of handles the rest as well as project management pushing it through. It would be awesome to have some sort of AI that just interfaced with all of these systems and just pushed everything through automatically, but we don't want to remove project managers from the space. We still need human interaction there.
But it's getting close to where virtually an AI is making it to where, and that's what's cool about Ryve and Portal, is you have built up sequences that then auto trigger texts, auto trigger updates, auto trigger to where if project manager's not smart enough to call, hey dude, just want to let you know permits have been ready, then what happens? Like most of the time, most business owners don't have good enough SOPs and a good enough organization to actually make sure he made that call at the exact seconds he's supposed to be making the call. Where if technology did it for you, you're like, worst case scenario, my apps did it all.
Right.
So
right.
super important. It could save you employee costs. It could save you inefficiency. I mean, that's what's crazy is like, I don't think people understand how much technology can eliminate employee overhead. Like,
right.
Nuts.
Yeah. And the whole thing about technology, it's not about, and this is something I really want to really harken on, is technology isn't there really to help you do more with less. And that's what a lot of people think of is like, oh, okay, like I can then fire project managers or anything like that. Like it's there to help you do more with more. So basically technology is there to take what you have and give you the ability to do more so that you can have more revenue, so that you can hire more, so you can provide more employment. And that's really something that I learned from reading this book called The Phoenix Project. I would recommend every business owner that listens to your podcast or works with you to read The Phoenix Project. And it would really help, just exponentially help every business owner out there understand what we're talking about, how software challenges can be faced, and the whole thing, the preface of the Phoenix Project is about doing more with more.
Love that.
And alleviating bottlenecks and all sorts of things. So it's not just applicable to software, it's applicable to any kind of company out there.
Doing more with more. That's going to be my new mantra. It's like doing more with less. It's like, how about just doing more with more? Having more abundant, bigger mindset around optimizing the more, and stop thinking I have to cut. It's like, no, just grow.
Grow. Yeah.
Because the word less means a little bit of a scarcity in there. It's fire.
Right. Yeah. You're thinking about the scarcity, right? If you're thinking about more with less, you're giving power to your fear, right?
Yeah.
So technology is here to help you do more with more. It's that's what we're trying to do at Ryve, right?
Love that. Well, dude, I appreciate you being on. And guys, if you're listening to this, like, obviously it's like, this isn't John Maxwell's podcast. This isn't Jordan Belfort speaking. Like, what's crazy is this is the behind the scenes stuff that makes people like me or Jordan Belfort do what they do. Like, without, like, if I didn't have a CRM, if I didn't have a marketing tool, if I didn't have the data points, you probably wouldn't even know what this podcast was. You wouldn't know how to even hear this. You wouldn't know this podcast wouldn't be existent if it didn't have the podcast app and the Spotify app that was built efficiently to make you have a good user experience to want to keep listening to these podcasts. You know what I mean? Like I think we underestimate the power of, how much we're using technology and how much technology plays a part in business and entrepreneurship and sales. And so, is there any other last little advice or thing you want to share or for wrap up?
Just keep plugging at it, everybody. Keep working at it.
Keep on keeping on. I love it.
Keeping on.
Hey, but guys, Ryve, RYVE CRM.com. Make sure to go check him out. Schedule a demo with Ben. He's definitely the one to help you out. And he does a really good job. I mean, I've had clients that have used them, they've loved them, and they have a really cool full stack feature set that very, 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 very few people have. And so if you're looking for an alternative solution, they would be a great person to connect with. If you're a solar installer, roof installer, sales organization, whatever that looks like, make sure to go check them out.
I appreciate it, Sam.
Hey, thanks a ton, my man.
Really. All right.
Talk soon.
Okay, talk soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.